The answers we seek often lie right in front of us if only you're willing to see and believe. So many of you have convened here at this conference from around the world, enterprise representatives, financial institution representatives, and others seeking answers in this blockchain and cryptocurrency world. Questions such as, well, what blockchain should an enterprise build upon? Which cryptocurrency will gain actual usage and command the highest in market value? And the reason we're asking those questions is because the blockchain and cryptocurrency world has gotten too complicated. We live in a world now with 1,000 different blockchain and cryptocurrency projects. It's far too many. Would it not be simpler if there was just a single global data ledger, a single global public blockchain that the whole world's businesses could operate on, just like we operate on a single global internet? Wouldn't that unite us all and avoid all of these complexities that we're facing in the blockchain world? Well, the answer is yes, it can be. But it's been staring us in the face all along, and people didn't think it was possible. The answer lies in this: Bitcoin, the original blockchain, the one that started it all, that birthed to the world in the Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, creating the vision for a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. But Satoshi's design and protocol did something much more that people do not understand. It laid the technical foundation for a blockchain, a data ledger, that if it was allowed to massively scale and use all of its technical capabilities, could provide the global public blockchain for all enterprise applications. Unfortunately, over the past 10, 11 years of Bitcoin's life, Bitcoin has not been allowed to grow into this vision because the BTC Bitcoin Core developers artificially restricted and crippled the capacity of the blockchain and limited its technical capabilities. Because they didn't do what we in the Bitcoin SV camp are doing, which is simply believing in Bitcoin's true power, its original Satoshi design and protocol, that if unleashed can supply the enterprise blockchain for the future. That's what we're doing, and why Bitcoin SV emerged from last November's first ever Bitcoin hash war to reclaim the original Satoshi design and protocol, enable it to massively scale, and create what we believe should be the global enterprise blockchain that satisfies all of these needs. I travel around the world, and I talk to businesses all the time about what they want and need in a blockchain. And this is the list of attributes that keep coming up again and again. Things you'll know about: a blockchain that's scalable, with low and predictable fees, that's transparent if it's public, auditable, verifiable, one that creates a lawful, regulation, and business-friendly ecosystem, one with a stable network and protocol, and all of the other attributes you see on screen. Bitcoin SV is the only blockchain project that exists that can check all of those boxes and that can deliver to enterprises all of that in one place. Today, I want to talk to you about just two of those needs because they are two of the ones I hear most about from enterprises: a blockchain that's scalable and one that has low predictable fees. And I'm going to tell you why Bitcoin SV, in restoring Bitcoin's original design, is finding the answers to those features which have escaped so many other blockchain projects by just looking right in front of us, in front of the original Bitcoin blockchain. So let's talk scaling. This has been the problem for blockchain projects for so long, once BTC decided through the core development group to restrain the capacity of the blockchain on BTC. Bitcoin SV really is the only massively scalable blockchain that you're going to see. Let's talk history. BTC, its block size is still restricted to 1 megabyte in size. That's teeny tiny. It does not fit many transactions, and that's why the BTC network has not scaled. You're talking a capacity of 3 transactions a second, or at peak, 7 transactions a second. That will nowhere rival Visa or MasterCard payment networks, which do 2,000 transactions a second on average, and 56,000 transactions a second at peak period. And that's what you need to do if you're going to truly create the Satoshi vision of a peer-to-peer global electronic cash system. So the answer is to believe in Satoshi's original design of unlimited scaling of the Bitcoin blockchain. There's a reason this is important, and it's not just because I like big blocks and I like lots of data in blocks. It's because of the economic impact on the network. When you have small, tiny blocks like you do on the BTC network, you can't fit all the transactions into every block that people are trying to send. They wait somewhere in the mempool, unconfirmed. And to get your transactions into the blockchain, you have to pay higher fees to the miners to essentially entice them to get your transaction in. This has led to immense volatility in the Bitcoin BTC fee charts. You can see here there's been a spike, January 2018, almost $40 to send a Bitcoin transaction. And it's come down, but it's still very volatile and unpredictable. On May 29th, you had fees of $4 per transaction on BTC. And now it's about 40 cents. Last month it was about $1. But that unpredictability is bad for business because businesses need predictability. Ethereum's having its own scaling challenges. Vitalik Buterin has acknowledged the Ethereum blockchain is almost full and businesses cannot onboard. Satoshi, at the very beginning of Bitcoin's life, predicted there's only one global chain, and at the time that Bitcoin can scale much larger than even the Visa credit card network, and it never really hits a scale ceiling. But it was not allowed to fulfill that vision. So how are we doing that on Bitcoin SV? BTC remains at 1 megabyte blocks. BCH is at 32. After a protocol upgrade in July of this year, the BSV network is at a default hard cap of 2,000 megabytes, 2 gigabytes, far larger than any of the other competing chains. Now, the miners are not set to that right now. They can set lower, and most of them are setting at 256 megabytes, which is still so much larger than the competing chains. And 2 world record blocks were mined of that full capacity in July of this year. There was a stress test that happened from one of BSV's supporters in China in August. We saw huge numbers of transactions, 2 million transactions pumped into the chain in an hour, yielding 2 big blocks, 210 megabytes and 150 megabytes, with 800,000 and 700,000 individual transactions just in those blocks. It's gotten to the point where seeing big blocks on BSV is rather boring. It's uneventful. This is a block explorer chart in descending order of the biggest blocks so far on BSV. You'll see on the far right the sizes, 256 megabytes, 248, 217, it keeps going down. And that's because big blocks work and they are scalable on Bitcoin. In February, we'll go through our Genesis upgrade, which will lift the cap entirely and let miners, through their own economic incentives, determine based on market forces what the block size should be. We've tested 12 consecutive blocks of 2 gigabytes in size on our scaling test network. And what this means for enterprises is much bigger throughput capacity. At 2 gigabyte blocks, you're talking 5 to 8 million transactions and 9 to 14,000 transactions per second. That's what is necessary to start sustaining an enterprise blockchain. And we believe in so big that we can get to terabyte-sized blocks, 1 million megabytes, where you could have billions of transactions in each block and 7 million transactions a second, and create the second factor, which is low and predictable fees. This is critical for enterprises. They need to budget. And on Bitcoin SV right now, it costs less than 1/10 of 1 US cent to send a BSV transaction. And that's reliably that way. In fact, we think that's too high. We think that will go even lower as the block size gets bigger. And that opens a whole world of new business models for enterprises. Micropayments. Imagine a world where you didn't pay your newspaper online a monthly or annual subscription to read the newspaper on the website, but you paid cents per article or blog post. What if you paid a few cents to watch online video by the minute or by the second? What if in online games you paid 10 or 20 cents for virtual items? Or for every social media interaction you had, or when someone interacted with you, they paid you micropayments, which are possible at small levels on BSV because it is so cheap to send a transaction. And that opens the world to our concept of the metanet, where the Bitcoin blockchain can power and subsume the entire internet because it can combine the functions of sending money with sending data in one native transaction and create a more commercial internet where user activity and data has more value to you as a user. So let me end with this section, which is, with scale, what is it that enterprises can build on Bitcoin SV? Well, they can build a lot, and we're seeing it all over the world, even in the short time BSV has existed. Drive Markets is an institutional exchange in Canada specializing in Forex trading. They're building a new payments network to increase the efficiency of the settlement and clearance process for financial institutions, especially across border. And they're building it on the Bitcoin SV blockchain because of its efficiency. One Store is South Korea's second biggest mobile app store, and it just announced at a big Bitcoin SV conference last week in Seoul that it is creating a music content delivery platform called BoostCon that will be powered by Bitcoin SV. It will allow music artists to upload their content, music and video files, to the app, and users can show their love by touching on the app, and guess what happens? Then the user pays the artist in Bitcoin SV tokens, and then that amount is distributed to all of the different rights holders that are involved in creating a song, because often there are many. It solves one of the efficiency problems we've seen in music using the Bitcoin SV blockchain. Chronoverse is an online game company here in the United States. It has a Dungeons and Dragons type online battle game. It is using the BSV blockchain to record game data. Every move of battles is recorded to the BSV blockchain. It's creating a battle explorer to create audibility and traceability of the battles, and it believes that will transform the esports world. Unisat is a company in Norway building a supply chain management, ERP, and SAP integrated solution using the Bitcoin SV blockchain to improve the providence systems we have with supply chain management. BitBoss is a gaming solutions provider also here in the United States, which is using the BSV blockchain to transform casino gaming. So that if you go into a land casino, instead of uploading money to a card, you use a mobile app they're providing to actually load up on either BSV or a BSV token and use that to connect and play slot machines. It allows tracing and verifiability on the blockchain and changes the casino experience for players. In the property tech world, a company in Japan called Zwyspace is testing the BSV blockchain to have a title registry for land, title, and leases, and more interestingly, using earthquake detection technology, where sensors are placed on buildings like IoT devices that feed data to monitor the building for earthquake detection in Japan to the BSV blockchain. They need a chain that sustains a lot of data and a lot of throughput capacity, and that's why they're choosing to do it on BSV. And that leads to the area that I think is most exciting for Bitcoin, which is big data and AI, and it's going to be possible only on BSV. We're seeing data streams already coming to the BSV blockchain. Weather SV is an application that allows you to open up a weather channel for a city and feed constant weather data to the blockchain, like I can do in my current hometown of Seattle. Uptime SV won our first ever BSV hackathon. It allows you to use your mobile phone's idle computing power to help companies test the up or down time of their websites by pinging it from anywhere in the world where your phone is. And in exchange, you as a user earn BSV in small micropayments to your wallet. And the application, of course, is getting lots of data about website activity from around the world. Rate SV is a project out of China, which is using streams of financial data to be fed and recorded to the blockchain. So you could open a channel that records stock prices, cryptocurrency prices, or other forms of financial data. What does this all mean? Recording all these streams of data, it means the BSV blockchain becomes a universal, public, auditable, verifiable store of data that can be used by businesses for big data analytics, and one day take advantage of the Bitcoin protocol's innate scripting language and computing power to become a machine for artificial intelligence. All possible because we believe in Bitcoin's true power. The answers to all of the enterprise blockchain questions have been staring us in the face all along. People went on divergent paths with Ethereum, with EOS, and all of the other projects you hear about. But if Bitcoin had only been allowed to scale for all these years, if its technical capabilities had been unlocked, the world that I am seeing in the future would have already started. That's why we fought the battle to preserve the original Bitcoin protocol and restoring it in Bitcoin SV. It's why we are working hard to massively scale. It's why developers around the world are waking up and seeing this is the blockchain that will sustain what I need to create amazing applications, and why they are increasingly saying, we choose SV. So as you consider the future of blockchain and cryptocurrency in your world, I ask you to take a moment and take a look at Bitcoin SV. It has the answers you need, because those answers have been in front of us all along, as long as we're willing to see and believe.